Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM Cast, presenting the ANZCAR Truck series. Stuart Brown bringing this presentation to you, and my goodness, that intro just gets me pumped. To be honest, I put it together myself, so there's no surprise that I like it. But yeah, wow, really gets me going, particularly that riff there. So welcome, round 2 of the ANZCAR Truck series on FGM eCast. It's been a busy week for the guys in oval track racing, with ANZCAR running their Daytona run. Don't have any of the footage to bring you, but I will do for next week, as we're here at Homestead for 100 laps, Season 1 2021, Round 2. A word with last week, plenty of action. And I'll tell you what, if this week is anything like last week, we're going to see lots of it. We've got a few more drivers in tonight. Saw plenty of complaints in the pre-game about the server being full at around about 1 or 2 minutes after 7. Only goes up at 7 o'clock. So lots of demand to jump into the ANZCAR server. And I'll tell you what, I am not surprised at all. So let's see what we can do tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. So what we've got here is me trying, evidently as best as I can, to get this full schedule of cars on my screen so I can tell you what's going on. But I think I've worked it out. So let's get ready, get settled in. Just at the end of the practice period here, about 9 minutes to go. Thanks very much, Tafik, for the like. We like you too. And we like the fact that you've jumped and joined in here. So, as I said, a full grid tonight. 35 cars, maximum number of cars allowed in this race. So it is a first in, best dressed. Billy Hickey, thank you, sir. Currently sitting in pole position. And provisional. It's not even provisional pole. Fastest in practice, shall we say, in the Ford. And a 32.77. Danny G just behind him, 32.78. And Josh Mickelmore, 32.79. So, not going to mean too much. Aiden as well, thanks very much for the like. Sitting there in 4th. Bet you did that just so you could get your name read out on the stream. No, certainly not. 32.8 for you there. So, plenty of pace here. But of course, as you know, anything can happen. If you watched the ANZCAR version of Daytona, I'll tell you what, it was reasonably close to how the real-life Daytona ended up today. Fair bit of action on the last lap. And real life Daytona today, what a explosive ending. And normally do the fireworks after you finish the race, but not today, deciding to get the fireworks on before the race finished. So if you haven't seen that, jump on YouTube or whatever it is that you watch things on and have a look at it, because it's definitely worth the watch. But that's not what we're here for tonight. ANZCAR Truck Series. Plenty to see. A little bit concerned about the overlay here. I'm just going to jump on with a couple of cars that I know. It's been playing a few tricks tonight, including bringing up some old images and things like that, so I do apologise in advance for that. I couldn't get it cleaned up before we went live tonight. Everything as usual, supposed to be all the way that it's supposed to be, and then of course as soon as we jump in it doesn't happen. So I'm just going to try and do a couple of things in the background here to maybe get that working. Certainly know that that is not the right livery for that man. That is Chris Purnell, who is up and running here again after a little bit of a gap from ANZCAR. He is back in the mix, getting things done with his team, Crank Esports. So this is going to muck around with a couple of things in the background here. So occupy yourselves, talk amongst yourselves. If you're in the stream, drop in and let us know. I think I may well have found the problem there as well. So just give it a few moments, that'll update there, and we should be back on the way that we go. Of course, as usual, the trading paints in the background, which actually runs the way the vehicles look here, has just shut down in the background. So we'll get all that fixed up, guys, so never fear, we will have the right liveries on your cars soon enough. It also makes my job a little bit easier to understand who's in which team. So those will progressively come on board. It's just updating itself now. Anyway, let's move along. So we've got just under 6 minutes to go in practice. Most of the drivers probably just trying to do a final qualifying run, get a little bit of a gap if they can do, to allow them to just have a practice. Of course, we know here that plenty of requirement to work with your teammates to make sure that you get a move along. So if you are running solo out there, it can be a little more difficult than those guys running in teams. Without my very well educated help from last week, Edward Foster jumped in, gave us a very detailed insight on what goes on in the world of oval racing in these trucks. We took out the main series win, the first win of the season, or the first race of the season as well. It took out the first race of the season on last Thursday evening. Heading to Daytona again this Thursday evening, I believe, using the road circuit. So interesting place to go. Thanks very much for the like there, Mark. Appreciate that. In the stream, do say hello. Let us know where you're from, maybe who you're supporting, so we can make sure that you get plenty of coverage of the drivers that you're looking for. We know there are millions and millions of fans out there for the ANZCAR Truck Series tuning in to FGME Cast on your Monday evening, wherever you are. Those of you in lockdown in Victoria, hope you're surviving. Only a few days left to go, hopefully, before you are free again. So almost completely updated it. And we'll just give the game a little bit of a reboot, and there you go. So that is the actual livery for Billy Hickey there. And great that we were able to get that fixed up before we get going. Kayd Donnelly's out on track at the moment. Our race winner from last week. Good job too in the Sim Boys Racing Team truck. Plenty of racing to come too from the ANZCAR guys. To run a couple of series. Most notably next tomorrow night is the Virtual Motorsport Mentor ARCA series. This is a development series for probably for the trucks, and then the trucks head up into the Abruzzi Cup, or ANZCAR Cup. So if you're looking for more oval track racing tomorrow night, do tune into that. Virtual Motorsport Mentor, Chris Purnell, sponsor and driver tonight. Put that series together there. So jump back on with Billy Hickey's back out on track. Danny G, very quick as well. Mitch Motorsport crew had a really solid run last week. One stage they're running as the first 4 cars on the track at the time. So really, really well sorted out team there. Interesting to see how they go this evening. A couple of new names, a couple of blasts from the past as well. Brett Douglas back in the number 76. So again, there's some issues there just with the overlay. That'll refresh itself. And running the 76 Virtual Motorsport Mentor colours. Just refresh all of that. So all those teams dressed up in white no longer look like they are. Let's hop off that for the minute. All of the cars are going to look like that until it reloads. Sometimes technology defeats you. I did jump on early like I normally do to do the setup. It was all good to go. And then the whole thing froze. I had to restart it. And now I'm dealing with the consequences of the restart. There we go, back on screen. See if we've got all that fixed there. We'll jump back into pit lane. No, not quite. Still taking its time to update there. See where Carl Withy is. Carl sometimes jumps in the com box with me. Not tonight. He is on track and running. Let's go, Braden. I can only imagine that's Braden Thomas. And Billy Hickey. Some love in the crowd there. Still just waiting for that livery to update. Only a few seconds to go. Cars will all reset, so hopefully that catches itself back up. It may not be a big deal for you, but it certainly is for me. Bloody annoying. But anyway, we'll move along. Wait for it to catch itself back up as the session's just about to tick over. And there it is at the end of practice. So now we go out. Last week we did have open qualifying, which is interesting. Normally these are a closed qualifying session. So what you're looking for, of course, is we want purple. So have a look on the bottom part here, 5 minutes only, single car qualifying. Let's see who gets out and gets involved. Obviously everyone's going to come out for a run. Try and stick with the fastest cars where we can. By fastest, I mean those making a break for it. Ready to take charge of this one. Get to the front of the field. So let's see what we can find out here. Might be a little difficult to keep up with. But we shall do our very best. So Purnell just sitting there. Michael Shaw not quite yet out. Carl Withy not out. So let's jump on there. Riley, thanks very much for the share. We really appreciate the love, mate. It very, very much helps us out. So we continue to grow our channel here. Jump on board with Aidan Schultz, who's getting some love. The Activity Hub Bali sponsored car. Activity Hub Bali jumping on board. Pretty strong representation in the ANZCAR field. Michael Shaw, captain of that ship, if I am not mistaken. So they definitely well represented. It's good to see Justin Howe, 32.85, first in with his flying lap. Along with Troy Davison, Brett Douglas. Billy Hickey does a 32.89. Paul Jackson, 32.83. So with a bit of a reshuffle there at the top of the field so far. Still plenty of time and plenty of cars to go. Brad Allison out in the Activity Hub Bali 03 car. He's got a few through their second lap. Kayd Donnelly, last week's race winner. You only get 2 shots at it, so he's done. Currently sitting there in 4th. Chris Burnell, Virtual Motorsport mentor, halfway through his second lap. 2 laps, 5 minutes to get the job done. Luke Trahere, thank you very much as well for jumping on board. Good time as well with the captain in the ship. It's a pity you missed out tonight, mate. Would have loved to have seen you out here running. Purnell does a 32.88, which will have him sitting 11th. Carl Withy, I believe he finished 4th in last week's race. Currently doing his second flying lap. There's a couple of cars, a couple of drivers, in fact I should say, missing from tonight as well. Did mention just there Luke Trahere, unfortunately missing out. So notice Michael Skurlock not here tonight either. A few drivers choosing not to do a qualifying lap as well. Gary Wellman still out there. Still got time on his second flying lap. Riley Curtis has just begun his run. We'll jump on board with him shortly. Bailey Barnacote as well. It's Aaron Dillon A couple of drivers they're not getting in times. Must have touched walls or things like that, so they didn't get through. Steve Williams has just gone fastest, 32.68. Riley Curtis, 32.76, still on a flying lap, so we'll stay on board with Riley. Keeping an eye on the other drivers. Aaron Dillon still to finish his laps. So Aaron Dillon there pulls out of that lap. We've got Bailey Barnacote still doing his stuff. Struggling a little bit there with dropping in and out of the server. I'll tell you what, it is going to be there's a big slide there, so that one's going to end that for him. And he pulls out of that. Riley Curtis still just rolling around. 22 seconds left. You'd say that's going to be it for qualifying. So we will bring up on screen the full qualifying grid when we tick the session over. Just waiting for the session to conclude. It's going to be Stephen Williams who's going to have grabbed pole position. And here we go. And again, everything just not quite wanting to play today. Okay, so we've got Steve Williams and Scott Griffith off the front row. We've got Danny G, Aidan Schultz off row 2, Riley Curtis and Brad Allison off row 3, Billy Hickey, Kayd Donnelly off row 4 with Mirko Datanik off row 5 with Paul Jackson. We've got Kai Sloggett and Justin Howe off row 6. Let's flick it over a leg, and we've got Chris Purnell, Troy Davison, row 7, Dwayne Priest and Daniel Stephen off row 8. We've got Murray Howell and Brett Douglas off row 9, Braden Thomas and Cam James off row 10. We've got Aaron Hatton, Gary Wellman off row 11, and Josh Mickelmore, Aaron Dillon off row 12. So we keep going further back through. Brodie Masters and Carl Withy off row 13, Nom Clark and Nigel Patton row 14. We've got Ben Vickers, Tristan Koch off row 15, Christopher Finlay, Aaron Major off 16, Michael Shaw and Jacob Schuker. Apologies, Jacob, if I got that wrong. Off row 14. And we've got Bailey Barnacote off row 15. Last man on the grid. Just not managing to get through on a clean lap there, Bailey. Showing a fair bit of promise in terms of the times, though. So keep an eye out for him as this race gets underway. Let's be quite clear here. It's definitely a race of attrition. The drivers do not want to end up getting sideways or getting run into. So they're going to be looking for a clean run. We had a long green flag period in our first race. And then after about lap 40 is when things turned a little bit crazy. So the drivers will be fully aware of that. Just now following the pace truck, get this one underway. It's a huge field, 35 cars. So there's quite a demand for this series. Thanks very much for the comments there, Mark. And then Aiden running out of 4th position. Couple of the Activity Hub Bali guys in at that top row at high lane. And we're off and running here. Just looking for everyone to get through this one cleanly. The start there, a couple wide, 3 wide in fact. Round into turn 1. Looks there like the 39er Scott Griffith's got a really good run. There's 4 wide in the mid-pack there. He's just trying to sort themselves out. So get this one underway. There's no way any of them would prefer to be running in that segment of the track. Just have a look back through the field here just to see where everyone is at and that everyone got through cleanly. As everyone tries to work themselves out. We've got 3 wide through the middle there. It's the 31 of Josh Mickelmore, just making his way through some traffic with Aaron Hatton just near him. So slide a little bit further back through the field. Looks like everyone's made their way through nicely. Just getting themselves sorted out for this race. So Stephen Williams in the lead early on. Action back in the pack here still. Just jostling for lines. Oh, there's almost contact there between the 78 of Justin Howe and the 26 of Billy Hickey. So it's got to be careful. Jacob Schuker has had an incident off in the back here. Just quickly jump back and have a look at that. What's happened there? Oh, he's just got the big slide on. Doesn't look like he's managed to grab that either. He's going to get the reverse flick. Oh, goodness me. How close was that for Christopher Finlay? Just managing to get through, and Michael Shaw. So, unbelievable for those two just managing to make their way through that. And keep themselves in the race as Justin Howe's looking very pacey here. He's looking for a way around. He's just jumped into the line. Scott Griffith just in front of him. It was a very, very close thing. Oh, here we go. There's a huge, huge crash. It is Howe, unfortunately, who's been involved with that. Mirko Datanek has also been involved with that. That's 78. That is game over for him. He is going to be out of it. So, hasn't called out a caution. So, obviously, the drivers have managed to get off the track there. Let's have another quick look at that. Oh, there's a big slide into pit lane. It's going to be night over for Justin Howe early on. Let's have a look at how that one came about. So, complete innocent bystander there, Howe. The 62 of Mirko Datanek. Just unfortunately costing him his night there. We'll head back up the front where Danny G's got himself a little bit of a break here. And he's running in that middle lane at the moment. These intervals to appear back up here on top of the screen again. I do have to apologise for the overlay issues. Very frustrating. This perhaps could be because there's so many people at home using the internet. We once again are not streaming from the studio. We're back at home streaming from the study. So. We will get to use that new studio at some stage. speed there is blistering, so we're going to be able to bring this to you in 4K, which I cannot wait for. Remember, Chris Purnell up 8 spots now, currently in 5th position. He's got Brad Allison behind him, Riley Curtis just in front. And he will just be managing things at the moment, as most of the drivers will. Just trying to